Finally, someone in the West that gets it. What 1984 actually means. Right. I've not actually read the book. I've seen the movie. I watched it a couple of times, quite deeply. I get it. I've been trying to tell you it. But trying to tell you from the point of George Orwell, you're not going to get it because you think you already bloody know. So listen to someone else tell you.
Everyone quotes George Orwell. Politicians, news anchors, your friends on Twitter, they all claim 1984 is a warning about the other side. But almost no one has actually read the manual. It is in fact the book most people claim to have read when they haven't. People think 1984 is a book about surveillance.
First, straight off
they
the
think
bat.
the danger is the camera on the wall or the microphone in...
First, straight off the bat, the manual. He described it as what it actually is, a manual. It's not just a book, it's a manual. The manuscript of sorts.
The bushes, the thought police coming and arresting you for expressing the wrong ideas. Big Brother is watching you. They're wrong. Whilst those things are the visceral terrors which capture our attention, the real threat in 1984 is much more dangerous and subtle. Orwell didn't fear the cameras. He feared linguistic atrophy. In 1984, he predicted a world where the government didn't need to ban problematic books because no one would have the vocabulary to understand them anyway. The only books people would read was simplistic pulp trash that harmonised with the proper way of seeing the world. Books with such basic vocabulary and easy plots that would cater to a world incapable of thinking anything original.
In other words, when they was rewriting the history in the movie, what was his name? Winston. In the movie, Winston is burning literature. Right? He's burning newspaper articles and they're not actually burning books, there were still bookstores. Well, you could get a book. That's fine. But they were burning literature. Right. Yeah, the bookstores, they had an upstairs room and all that with some old stuff that weren't meant to know about. It wasn't the fact, it wasn't the books per se. They weren't banning the history, they was banning the ability to know what it meant. Education. Hello? Where are we? That was burning and erasing the ability to comprehend English, the written and spoken word, so that we could all just have the wool pulled over us thinking that we knew what they meant. Hence, what I've been telling you all this time. The dumbing down of the West. Why? Dumb people are pretty easy to manipulate, especially when they think they know stuff. Do whatever you want them to do. Just tell them it's for their own good. Knowledge. Oh God, I got the orbs up.
The Big Brother government of 1984 understood this one monstrous truth. A truth that Orwell realised the majority of us just do not understand. That if you cannot speak the word, you cannot hold the idea. If you cannot say rebellion, you cannot ever rebel. Now this is the Newspeak protocol in 1984, and it is by far and away the most sinister, tyrannous construction in the whole book. And yet, if you look at how we communicate today, using buzzwords that are so broad as to encapsulate anything you want them to, or the use of emojis or 5-second sound bites to convey a thought, then you'll realise that Big Brother isn't on its way. It's already a reality, according to George Orwell.
Introducing Grammarly, like you've never seen before. Your all-in-one writing essential.
Perfect,
The
Dad.
best writing reflects you, clearly and responsibly. Grammarly's AI detector makes sure everything you write stays true to you.
How fitting is that? I wonder if the algorithm made that happen. No need for you to fucking have a brain and intelligence. Just let Grammarly do all the thinking for you. That's better out than in.
To understand the weapon, we must understand the blacksmith. Eric Blair, who we know as George Orwell, didn't write this book in a comfortable library. He wrote it after watching reality dissolve in the Spanish Civil War. Speaking of that time, Orwell wrote this. I remember saying once to Arthur Koestler, history stopped in 1936, at which he nodded in immediate understanding. Early in life, I had noticed that no event is ever correctly reported in a newspaper. But in Spain, for the first time, I saw newspaper reports which did not bear any relation to the facts, not even the relationship which is implied in an ordinary lie. I saw great battles reported where there had been no fighting, and complete silence where hundreds of men had been killed. I saw troops who had fought bravely denounced as cowards and traitors, and others who had never seen a shot fired hailed as the heroes of imaginary victories. And I saw newspapers in London retailing these lies and eager intellectuals building emotional superstructures over events that had never happened. In the novel 1984, the party's ultimate weapon is newspeak. The goal of newspeak is not to invent new words, but to destroy them. Syme, the philologist in the book, says it best. It's a beautiful thing, the destruction of words. Now let that sink in for a minute. The destruction of words. Why is it such a powerful idea according to Orwell? It's because every word you lose is an idea you cannot process correctly. If you had no word for honour, you may occasionally feel this vague sense of something in you, but you certainly wouldn't know when honour is not in a situation, when it is lacking. If you don't have a word for tyranny, you are going to confuse that situation for safety. Now, consider how...
Before he goes on, newspeak can be one word or it can be two words with an extra S. Do you watch the news? Have you listened to the news speak?
word discourse digitally. The standard of good faith debate, of steel manning your opponent's argument, of carefully listening to a logically developed line of thought is rapidly vanishing. You only have to look around YouTube to see it. What's happening is we are voluntarily lobotomizing ourselves. And that is the newspeak that Orwell was talking about in 1984. We're being convinced that our own thoughts are oppressive and unsafe, and it would be much more preferable that we don't have to put up with the hard work of thinking, but just let some others tell us what to think so that we don't succumb to the very dangerous idea of misinformation. But controlling the language wasn't enough. Orwell knew that to truly enslave a population, you have to break their trust in their own eyes. You have to make them dependent on the expert for their reality. We mentioned misinformation. Who determines that? The experts? But what if experts are incentivized or wrong? What if we are not capable of thinking through what the experts say? While not all things can be true, can you see how misinformation is a word that can be weaponized? That is exactly what happens in the book. The Ministry of Truth has one job. It's to rewrite the past so that it fits whatever the present narrative is. So imagine if the ministry says chocolate rations have increased, but you, in your memory, can remember that they decreased. Well, the Ministry of Truth will ensure that all the records say they've increased. And because they've limited people's ability to think, that other people will say, you're wrong. And you're caused to doubt your very own lying eyes, to doubt your own internal construction of facts and reality. If your memory contradicts the official narrative, you assume you are insane, not the state. We see this today. 1984's rewriters of history actually have a counterpart today. We have outsourced our critical thinking to the fact checkers and the consensuses, and both sides have their own groups. We don't ask, is this true? We ask, is this approved? And once you doubt your own reality, the final lock snaps into place. The thought police. Orwell based this idea on the panopticon. That's the idea of a circular prison where all the cells face inward towards like a central well, so that every prisoner can be observed all the time, 24 hours a day. And that's the thought police. It's not that the thought police are everywhere, it's that they could be at any given time. This creates a state of preventative stupidity. You don't need a guard in the room if you are terrified of your own mind. This is the ultimate goal of the system, self-censorship. In 1984, they call it crime stop. It is the faculty of stopping short as though by instinct at the threshold of any dangerous thought. It is the willingness to be stupid to stay safe. If you have ever stayed silent in a meeting, or deleted a post, or nodded along to a lie because you were afraid of losing your job or your status, you've already been visited by the thought police. This brings us to the conflict. Winston Smith, the protagonist, is not a hero. He's weak. He is physically deteriorating. But he possesses the one thing the system hates: memory. He tries to maintain an internal model that correlates to reality. And then there is O'Brien. O'Brien's not a villain. O'Brien is the algorithm. He doesn't want to kill Winston. He wants to convert him. There is a terrifying moment in the book where O'Brien tells Winston, the protagonist, we're not interested in the good of people. We're interested solely in power. You see, most authoritarians and dictators think they're the good guy. They at least think they're doing something right. But O'Brien represents one of the most sinister characters in all of literature and life, the one that knows what they are doing is evil as the cost of keeping order. And not order for the good, but 100% conformity and belief in whatever you are told so that you uphold the state ideals. O'Brien says he wants to tear minds apart and then reassemble them in the image of himself and the state. So how do you fight against Big Brother? According to Orwell, you don't pick up a gun. You pick up a dictionary. You investigate the great works which you were told are worthless because they don't fit the narrative. You learn to think properly and independently. Orwell's argument is essentially that we fight back by developing the ability to think clearly, to perceive correctly, to speak fluently and logically. We don't read classics, for instance, in order to be cultured. We read them to develop a vocabulary of thought which creates a mind too sensible for others to control by simply saying the news says, or they're bad, they're good, or the experts say. We learn to think correctly for ourselves. As Orwell phrases it in the book, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 make 4. If you grant that, all else follows.
Love it.
Don't let them delete your words, or they will delete your mind.
Yes. Oh, wow. How many different ways I've been trying to tell you that, but everyone references George Orwell. Everyone references 1984. It's become so cliche. They're like, oh, it's 1984 again. And people just shut off that. The problem is it's become so cliche that dumb people think that they know what it means and they don't. So, as soon as you reference 1984 in any argument, you've already lost, not the argument, you haven't even lost the logic. What you have lost is their ability to accept your argument. You've lost their willingness to listen. Oh, here we go, 1984 again. Oh, here we go. Conspiracy theories again. Make no mistake, people used to want to know things. If you spoke about something that they didn't understand, didn't know, they would want you to teach them. They would want to know. Well, what's this you're speaking of? This sounds interesting. This sounds like it could be useful to me someday. This sounds like knowledge. Now, they're willfully ignorant. Oh, don't argue with me. Because science says. Because the computer said no. Because that's the law. Hello? You don't even know what the law is. You speak. You only think in sound bites and TikTok brain. It's not an insult, it's an observation. Learn the difference. Pick up a book. For God's sake.